people, what's going on? Gonna hit these missing planes one more time. Gonna make some suggestions, few suggestions, to keep contact with these planes. That's what we got to do. I got 2 other videos out. Go check those ones out first. Part 1, 2, and this will be 3. That'll be the end of the series on missing planes and what we can start doing about it. It's time to shift gears and actually start. You know, we're all talking about the aliens, we're talking about the science, we're talking about the beginning, the end, and all this other stuff. Well, it's time to start, practicing what we're preaching. We're preaching about wormholes and time slips and everything else. Well, don't look now, but it's happening right before your very eyes. And you could end up on one of these planes that are missing. That all being said, let's get into it. All right. How we can contact Malaysia flight MH370. Keep the radio signals going out to these flights using the satellites. Automatically just put out a page, put out a radio transmission to them. 24/7, 365. All right. Even though they are locked inside a local moon wormhole, it's possible that the plane could slip out during a certain moon and planetary alignment. That said, it is of paramount importance, okay, to continue to make radio contact with Malaysia flight MH370 and other planes that have gone missing recently. We'll get into those. You got Air France, what was it, flight 343 or something like that, or 447 rather. Modern airplanes use satellite communication to talk with air traffic control. We need to program satellites to automatically send out radio messages to flight 370, 24/7, 365. All right, what we're talking about is having a complete revamp on how we're doing things when planes go missing. You know, after we do the search, after we realize that they can't stay in the air that long, they're gone, we stop pinging them. So we'll start communicating with them. But we need to stay on board year in and year out. Now these planes, like the evidence that I'm looking at is flight 914 coming out of New York to Miami. Basically was 2 metonic cycles, right? It was 37 years, it was missing. It departed in 1955, came back in 1992, I think. So, or 97, I'm not sure off the top of my head. But anyway, it was 37 years. It's 2 complete metonic cycles, moon metonic cycle. There is the smoking gun, the proverbial smoking moon gun. Okay? That's the one that's, it's obvious. You know, it's obvious. It flew out. It probably came out of that wormhole a few times until it completely got out of it, and then it landed in Caracas, Venezuela, and he got on the tarmac. It was, the pilot was discombobulated. He took back off, and he probably flew off and ran out of fuel and ended up in the Caribbean somewhere, the Southern Ocean. So, we find these planes and go, oh, we found the planes, everything's okay, they just fell in the water. No, that's not the case. They fell in the water 37 years ago, 37 years past the time that they originally disappeared. It went and got lost, disappeared, sucked into a wormhole, a moon hole. I got to come up with a new word for this, these portals. I use wormhole because most people know, they've heard of Einstein's theory and a few other people, physicists out there. So I'm using that as a term until we get a better one. But it is essentially you're being parked outside of the bondage of time. So that all said, here's a little bit of the dynamics of what we're using today. We get the big antennas on the ground and we're pinging up to the satellites. Now the planes can communicate to the satellites, then it bounces, then it comes back down to the land ground equipment. Okay, so this is how they make contact with the planes going transatlantic, trans-Pacific, transocean voyages. A little bit more know, geometry here, you know, satellites just swimming around. Some of them are geo-locked, some of them, you know, traveling at different rotational speeds in the Earth. It's, you know, not too much. We got this flight, MH370, really woke a lot of people up. France is the only one out there that is not buying the BS that the plane has been found. They're also looking for another plane, like I alluded to earlier. But they're the ones actively looking and searching for this plane, right? A couple of tons of plane, 200 some odd beautiful people on it, and it's gone. Like, you know, all this stuff, it just floats. These planes crash. This stuff is all over the place. A massive debris field. We can't always track planes. The satellite giant aims to change that. 3 years after the mystery of MH370, satellite phone pioneer Iridium is betting on its network can avoid future disappearances and make flight paths more efficient. Actually, this would be great because we could actually, you know, track them going into the wormholes, you know. So, you know, so more evidence coming our way. Hopefully, I don't know when they might have already put it up there or they're going to put it up there. But anyways, this is a website. I don't want to go to it because it's just a logistic nightmare for my computer and everything. Basically, it tells you, you know, it's like a couple of thousand planes just flying over my head right now, you know, in the general 500, you know, mile radius of where I'm at. So there's thousands and thousands of flights every day, all around the globe. So there's a lot of air traffic going on. We're getting into that, you know, it's more and more people are getting on the planes and going places and doing things. So, that all being said, this is the main flight that we're interested in right now. You know, it's the one that's it's just completely gone, you know, completely gone. You know, when they started, they discontinued the search. A lot of these countries discontinued the search, and then they ended up hiring independent people. And, you know, of course, they get paid if they find something. Well, guess what? They found something, they get paid. Come on now. It's, you know, it's a good way of closing it. Okay, everybody, you know, it's closure for the affected ones, the family members that are still behind. Again, I don't think for a minute these people have dead. They're in a portal. They can still come back out, and just like that flight out of New York, you know. Now I believe, you know, it's an 18.5-year metonic moon cycle. So 18.5 years, you're looking at 2032. The one that went missing, flight. What was that flight from France? There's another plane there. That's the Malaysia plane, and the one from France disappeared June 1st, 2009. This one disappeared March 8, 2014, Malaysia, Air France. Now, again, nothing was found of this plane either to speak of. No bodies. I mean, it's just clothing. You know, I mean, all the stuff that goes with the plane. It's just absolutely ridiculous to just to believe for a minute that the case is closed. All right. Anyways, yeah. So 2027 flight, Air France flight 447 should pop out of the wormhole, the moon wormhole. That's one metonic cycle, and that's roughly 7-8 years from now. Okay, and then like I said, 2034 flight. What do you call it? The Malaysia flight 370 will pop out of the moon portals. Now, I believe, and a lot of these things are happening at the first, you know, few years of the metonic cycle. So it's an 18.5-year metonic cycle. They're popping out, you know, first year, second year, third year, fourth year. Now, all the planes, I'm getting into, like, you know, a lot of planes missing, and the 50% of the planes, even higher than 50%, I'm being conservative here, went missing on between the new moon and the first quarter. Again, another smoking gun. New moon, first quarter, these planes go missing. For the last, I think it's over 100 planes in the last 67 years have gone missing. Okay, so something going on. So here's the this is the one that landed 37 years after taking off. And back, communication, talking with these people. One thing led to another. They realized they were off track now. Like I said, he probably took off. Now he flew out, way out of range, out of fuel by now, and then ends up in the Caribbean, like I said at the beginning of the video. And then we come by him and go, oh, there's a plane. It was in the water all this time. No. It was in the water, it didn't hit the water for 37 years, okay? It was up in the space-time park of the space-time continuum, outside the space-time continuum, in a time-free zone, just parked there, and waiting to escape. Now, I think these planes are getting out. They're popping in and out, but if you're a pilot, if you're a passenger pilot, you just lost a year or two because you just left the space, the time constraints that the Earth is in bondage by suffering from. And then all of a sudden you come back in. Well, your mind is like, okay, everything's fine. We're cruising, fuel's good. You think you've been flying, for 5 minutes or whatever. You've been up in the air for like literally 2 or 3 years. Okay, so pilots need to be educated to identify this type of effect. They need to be, across the board. Just bring out the theory, anyways. Whatever. Just put it out there. Say, hey, look, this could happen to you. We don't know how you can recognize it, but you might think that something's wrong, or what have you. Think that things just ain't right. You might want to start thinking that you're in a portal. You just came back out, and if you're thinking you want to drop altitude and get out of this thing before it sucks you back in again. Now, I'm talking about the moon. The moon's just got to move a little bit this way or that way, and pop. You've been captured by this stretch, this tear in the fabric of gravity, which is built of time also. It's a time gravity combination. I know there's a lot of controversy over the big G word lately, but it's as far as I'm concerned, I've done all my research and everything. It's for real. Okay. 67 years of missing flights. Here's the places all over the planet. This is a real phenomenon, and of course, I'm not going to tell you about this stuff. I'm not going to put it on the news every couple of days, but they want to keep the traffic going. You know what I mean? And sell those planes, sell those tickets, get people up in the air, just get some money out of them, right? Got to get them tourism dollars. All right, here's a grid here. It's a vector coordinate. So I do get 200 on board. Here's a 200 people on board, 100 people on board. So this is going back to 1945, I think, 45, 49, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000. Yeah. So, excuse me for the bad pictures, but it is sometimes the best I can do. But anyways, you get the idea. It's not just 2 planes here or there. There's a lot of planes that are missing. Again, it's the moon. This here is the big alignment. You can look at the Earth as the minute hand on a clock. The moon is the second hand, and the sun is the hour hand. Now, when all 3 hands line up, boom. Just say for argument's sake. It's not to be taken literally, but it's a figuratively speech here. You got all 3 line up. When the hand starts to move out, when the moon starts to move out of alignment between the sun and the Earth, that's when you have a stretch in the gravitational field. You have a stretch in the space-time continuum. And if you're flying up there, if you go to my other videos, you're gonna get captured by it. So I mean, I'm not in this video. I want to basically talk about changing the aeronautics industry's mindset and to keep communicating with these people. I just just in case just to drive home what's going on from the other three videos. I think this is definitely in the second video, I believe. This is what is the problem. This is the first quarter. This is the first quarter going to crescent moon, and then you're going up to the first quarter of the moon, and that's where all the games begin. That's when planes start going missing. Here's your typical concept of a portal, if you will. Probably nothing like that, but this is basically what's going on out there in space. Things are moving around. The fabric of space and time are stretching and tweaking, and you get a tear in there once in a while, and you get torn. You fly into that tear, into the barycenter. You're gone. You're out of here for 18 and a half years if you don't drop down and get out of it. So more instrumentation needs to be put together, more education to the pilots and general public for that matter. You know what I mean? You can call up and get your stewardess, say, hey, look, I think we're in a portal. You might want to knock on the captain's cranium and say, hey, take it down a few feet. Things ain't looking good. So I still got a lot of hope for these flights that are missing. And like I said, they'll be popping out 18 and a half years for sure. If history's a guide, like Flight 914 did. If it flew out and because it didn't drop altitude or raise its altitude, it got stuck in there for another 18 and a half years. So it took up 37 years to get out of there. So that all being said, I don't know, man. I'm just wrapping up this video series, putting out what I can. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. Who knows? Maybe it will. But these things are this is the universe we live in. This is why you can take a flight from Boston to London, 5 hours, and you're going with the rotation of the Earth, and going from London to Boston takes like 7.5 hours. Okay, because you're traveling the whole time. The gravitational field is spinning with the Earth. You're not gonna fly against the rotation of the Earth, get to Boston, call yourself up, and tell you, don't eat the chicken dinner, go vegetarian for sure. It's not gonna happen. You're not gonna break that time lock, because the whole gravitational field is turning with the Earth. So it's all locked in. It's like a big mechanism. But when the moon comes in, moon's the biggest player gravitationally on the Earth right now. It's moving trillions of tons of water. Okay, moving trillions of tons of water, and it's a massive gravitational monster, really. So it can potentially, and it does, stretch and tear that fabric of time. And if you're in that right spot, like I mentioned in the other place, you're gone. See you later. Parking it. So you're out there. Call your congressman, call your leaders, call the aeronautics industry, send them an email. So you want to still maintain radio telemetry to these missing flights. Even Flight 914, they could have went back into a wormhole, come out another 15 years from now, 10 years from now. So all these planes that are missing, yeah, it's 60 years or what have you, 70 years. They still could potentially be out there. Now, obviously, the longer you're out, the further the further possibilities are. But the relative, the last ones, within a 20-year or an 18-year span that have gone missing, like these two flights that I got on the board here. Those we should maintain radio contact with these people and try to get inside the mindset of coming out of a place where there's no time and back into time, And actually, because they're not going to know it. You're not going to know it because they haven't been educated. They don't have any instrumentation saying, hey, look, an alarm going off. Hey, you're in a wormhole. Get the hell out of here. So, I mean, that's something that maybe we need to look into. All right, with our technological marvels that we have on the planet today. So, our expertise. All right, John Shaughnessy here. Just thought I'd put some closure to it. Get out there, bang the drums. Tell the aeronautics industry that we want to maintain radio contact 24/7, 365. Doesn't cost a dime.